a party SPLM and a potential path towards a generational transitional in leadership.
The president is trying to send a signal to them that it is a time for us to rest. It is a time for us to go home. It is a time for us to give an opportunity to the young people.
Well, we shall listen to Dr. Abraham Kwol-Nyuan and in an exclusive interview in this first hour. Still to come, the National Election Commission has officially opened the Central Equatoria State High Elections Office in Juba.
And today, we are marking a milestone in opening of the National Election Office in Central Equatoria State.
Well, we will have a closer look at South Sudan's preparation for the long-awaited 2026 general election. Stay tuned for this and more coming to you in today's edition of the Sundown Show with me, Madrama James.
Basma le radio Hagiga, I radio in Takum fi Junub Sudan.
Well, today we begin with a closer look at South Sudan's preparation for the long-awaited 2026 general elections, where the acting governor of Central Equatoria State, Paulino Lokudu, on Thursday joined senior national leaders to officially open the Central Equatoria State High Elections Office in Bullock, here in Juba. The Deputy Governor Lokudu described the new electoral office as a key step toward involving more citizens in a democratic process and enabling the State Electoral Committee to begin early preparation or planning for the 2026 polls. He stressed that the state government is fully committed to working closely with the National Elections Commission, also known as NEC, to ensure the elections are timely, peaceful, and credible. Let's listen to Deputy Governor Paulino Lokudu in this statement.
And today, we are marking a milestone in opening of the National Election Office in Central Equatoria State. During the liberation struggle for over 42 years, you used, as a liberators, you always said you are fighting for the new generation. You are fighting for the young people. You are fighting for a country where your children will be free. They will not be Arabized. They will not be Islamized. They will have equal status, and they will live together as sons and the daughters of the country. And today we are very happy. I want to take this opportunity to congratulate all the liberators and appreciate you for liberating our country. We are the children that you are talking about. And some of them are serving in the government of RT Dono. Others are commissioners, and we have a commissioner of Morocco here. Others are advisors, others are ministers, and I am here as a deputy governor, as a child of a liberation. With these children of the liberation, they have grown. Some of them are already politicians. They have never been voted for, they have never voted. This time, we want election to happen. It is with great pride and deep appreciation that I stand before you today to participate in opening of the office of Central Equatoria State High Election Committee. This is not merely an unveiling of a physical structure, but a reaffirmation of our collective commitment to democratic governance, peace, and the right of our citizens to choose their leaders through free, fair, credible, and transparent election. As we gather here in the heart of our beloved state, Central Equatoria, we are reminded of the journey of our people, the journey that our people have walked, that marked by the resilience, sacrifices, and unshakable belief in a better tomorrow. The establishment of this office signals an important milestone on our path towards consolidating peace and strengthening democratic institutions in the Republic of South Sudan. I commend the National Election Commission for its continued efforts in preparing for the upcoming general elections. The President of this high office election at the state level will enhance coordination, transparency, and timely dissemination of the information to our citizens across Central Equatorial State. Your work will be pivotal to ensure electoral process reflects the will of the people. Elections are not just casting votes. They are about empowering people, strengthening accountability, and giving voice to the aspirations of our every community. The success of this process depends not only on individuals involved, but also actively in participation of every South Sudanese citizen. I therefore call upon all the political actors, civil society organizations, media, traditional leaders, youth, women, to engage constructively, support the voter education process, and promote peaceful environment as we approach to this historic moment. As the government of Central Equatorial State, we pledge our full support to administration of the high-level elections committee. We will work hand in hand with you by creating an enable environment such as peace and security and community engagement across all the counties and the payams of Central Equatorial State. We should have one by one so that we don't leave anybody behind, not the disabled people, not the displaced, not the disfranchised. Let this office serve as a beacon of democracy, integrity, service to the people. Let it remind us daily that power belongs to the people, and the legitimacy of the government flows from the consent of the governed. In conclusion, I urge all the officials of a state high-level committee to serve with due diligence and integrity. I equally call on all citizens of Central Equatorial State to prepare themselves to participate in the first ever coming elections with unity, discipline, and peace. Together, let us build South Sudan where every citizen voice is heard, respected, and counted.
Well, Deputy Governor of Central Equatorial State, Paulino Lokudu, addressing, of course, the public there. Meanwhile, the chairperson of the National Election Commission, Professor Benigo Akok, said the commission is fully prepared to deliver free, fair, and transparent elections. He also thanked Central Equatoria government for providing the land where the new office now stands, calling it a sign of a strong partnership and shared dedication to democracy. Let's hear what he had to say.
This is a very good day today. Why is it good? We have been planning and we have been talking for a very long time. But thank God that the actions must be seen. Today you have seen the action. All the efforts we were exerting from the office of the President and the Governor of Central Equatoria, here it is today. We congratulate them for their efforts. Clap for them, please. We are also happy that the contractor who did this work should be remembered. He did it in Central Equatoria, Western Equatoria, Bahar al-Ghazal, Western Bahar al-Ghazal, Northern Bahar al-Ghazal, and Warab State, and Lake also. That Warab may be open by June this year. I congratulate him for that effort. Also, I must thank the Secretariat of the Commission for this wonderful organization they have done today. Something must be seen, that's where you will be known. Nobody can be known without seeing. So my dear Secretariat, I thank you very much and I appreciate it. And you continue with this spirit. We are delighted and grateful to the government of the Republic of South Sudan for giving us some resources by that time. Otherwise, this one should have not been made. So the achievement or the beginning started from them. Nothing can be done without resources. Again, as you see, I have become so familiar with my dear friend Dara, the man of the UNAMIS, UNDP, and JICA. They have been supporting us for a very long time, and we appreciate that very much. First, the NEC is mandated by laws of this republic to conduct an election as specified by the extension 2026, December will be the time for us to run election. Hence, we are proud that a building is now in the Central Equatoria, which we are celebrating today. This will immediately give a feeling to the people that election is real, and you will get it behind here now. I don't want to bother you much with so many things, but I want to tell you that we have done some achievements. Those achievements are the state high offices. They have been state high election committees. They have been formed, and they are operating there now in their various states. We have passed laws and regulations which we have amended. The NEC has left only with 5 offices, which we are sure, with the help of the UN, they will finish next year. The NEC has some vehicles which we brought for the office and for the states. UN and JICA have built capacity of NEC, and I ought to congratulate them for their good effort. Good work. Education is a part of life. You must adapt and you must acquire new skills. Without them, I think we should have not done that. I thank the government for that work. What are the challenges facing NEC at the moment? The challenges are few and they are very important for us. One of them is the gaps and contradiction in the Act. Those who have read the Act, if you see the old Act and the new Act, there are some gaps. And we have been talking to the leadership of the nation that the document must be defined, saying that it could be understood properly. People may be asking me, what did you, when you met the president, what did he tell you? And maybe that when I met the president, I talked to him, and he told me that, Akok, I have only one program. Elections must be conducted before the end of the transitional period. So this is a very good message to the public and to us to get prepared so that we implement that one. Again, I think that there is no place for you to listen to them. But let me jump to conclusion. The National Election Commission is looking forward to execute its mandate. We are ready to conduct free, fair, credible elections. I have an experience. I went to India and I saw the election in India. And I would like to say before these masses and the Southern Sudanese generally, that election in India was so calm, so smooth, so orderly. I went to Rwanda, likewise. I went to Kenya, likewise. I went to Uganda. But that of India is very exemplary, very calm, and with the environment, very encouraging. The appeal to the parties to the peace agreement, as you heard from the speakers before, immediately they are talking about political decisions and so on. But above them all, what we need is peace. A culture of peace must be brought into existence. And I'm happy that I am with the General Paul Manyangjo, a distinguished liberator, a very prominent person. The message I can say as an academician and as a person with experience in culture of peace, there is nothing which can be done without dialogue. So my dear brother, let us speed up to follow dialogue to a peaceful environment, such that we run election freely and fairly. The government of South Sudan should demonstrate the culture of democracy. In other words, should demonstrate culture of peace. They should demonstrate first culture of peace and then followed by culture of democracy as the best norm in the world for the people to legitimize their government through ballot. In other words, under the culture of peace, there is democracy. And under democracy, there are 8 domains, culture of peace. There are 8 domains. One of them is democracy, which we are trying to practice and put into action. May God bless Southern Sudan. Thank you all.
Professor Abenigo Akok is the chairperson of the National Election Commission talking to the media right there. Also attending the event was a senior presidential advisor and chairperson of the National Transitional Committee, General Kwal Juk. He was the day's chief guest. General Kwal praised the NEC for renovating and equipping the facility and urged the Commission to stay focused and delivering credible facility and urge elections. Let's listen to what General Kwal Juk has to say.
Now, and with this, I'm grateful, also thankful for Professor Benguaku, chairman of the National Election Commission, for working hard, the hard work we made together with his colleagues, and for us to reach this time and this moment when we are here inaugurating the first office in South Sudan, that is the state office in South Sudan, in Juba here. Appreciate and thank Governor Hussein Jadala for availing these premises to the Elections Commission so that the Commission can be able to exercise its duties for the successful conduct of the elections. We will be before the end of the year, 2026. We are determined to see that elections are conducted in time. The problems we are experiencing are problems that are naturally made by countries that are getting independence. It happened in very many countries. After independence, or during the independence, people divide up. Sometimes they fight among themselves, and when they become independent, then the struggle for power continues. It happened in many countries in Africa here, but now the situation in South Sudan is now getting better. You hear of some little fighting there and fighting there. These small fights will not affect the conduct of the elections. Peace is there. In Juba here, some people arrived there especially some element, people in social media will write that there's no peace in South Sudan, even in Juba here. I remember there are some foreigners, some investors who came here, and they expressed their surprise. When they came to Juba, they confessed. They said when they were coming to Juba, they were advised that Juba is insecure. You can easily be shot at the airport. So they took the risk now to come and see that Juba was just a normal city, and the problems which are here are there worldwide in all the countries. When you go to the social media, then you get scared. So for us in Juba here, I think election can be done peacefully. And I'm telling you that the situation in the other states is also good, and elections can be carried out also in those places. During the war that we fought, there were wars in the Sudan, and especially in South Sudan here. But yet, the Sudan government was conducting elections. The same we can do also, we do it here. Our situation now is far, far better. There are some elements who were in the various. Some were in the IO, NAS, and another movement. None of them have come back.
General Kwal Juk is the senior presidential advisor and chairperson of the National Transitional Committee, addressing the gathering. Finally, The new office was made possible with the support from the United Nations Mission in South Sudan, also known as UNMISS, and other partners. Their goal to build stronger institutions and promote credible elections across the country. Let's listen to Mr. Darren Nas, who is the head of the United Nations Integrated Electoral Assistance Team, and he had this to say.
This is a very important step in election management for any country. It may seem from a protocol perspective that we are just here inaugurating a state high election committee office, but let us not forget that election management is ultimately at the state and local level. And while we are sitting here in the nation's capital, this office is responsible for Central Equatoria State, and soon there will be ceremonies like this all over the country, inaugurating state high election committee offices in nationwide. Ultimately, these offices serve as the direct connection with the public, with the voters, with your constituents, to be able to initially begin discourse on civic and voter education, and ultimately then in terms of other aspects of the electoral process. In line with the UN mandate, noting it is starting with working toward a conducive environment to get to elections, just as the Honorable Chairman of the State High Election Committee mentioned a few minutes ago, and in line with the government request for UN electoral assistance. The UN, including UNDP, UNMISS, and other agencies, in coordination with our trilateral partners, the African Union, IGAT, and also JMAC, are here to support South Sudan as per the peace agreement to get to its first elections as an independent state. This support, in line with the National Election Commission priorities, in line with the government priorities toward elections, includes support to the legal framework, to capacity building, to infrastructure initiatives such as this, to inclusion initiatives, the civil society, women's groups, persons with disability, youth, support to election security, all to complement what the government and the National Elections Commission and others are doing. Noting that, however, the National Election Commission needs clarity. It needs political clarity, it needs legal clarity, and above all, it needs financial clarity for the way forward in order to make positive progress toward elections. I compliment the NEC on continuing to do everything it can without that clarity, including initiatives such as this, to build the infrastructure of a long-lasting independent election commission throughout the country, to build the capacity of its staff, and to begin civic education and inclusion initiatives with the public and with civil society. All of this clarity ultimately yields to the need for a realistic timeline to get to December 2026 elections. And this clarity really can only happen if the parties to the agreement come together and discuss in terms of the way forward to provide that clarity to the National Elections Commission. The UN and international partners will continue working with the NEC and electoral stakeholders to support this electoral clarity, to support initiatives such as this, to support capacity building at the national level and around the country, as well as with initiatives related to preparations of elections and election security. I want to close just by saying thank you all. Thanks to the NEC. I think initiatives such as this are positive steps forward in the eyes of all South Sudanese to get to the ultimate goal of the first national elections of South Sudan. Thank you very much.
You have heard from Darren Nassas, who is the Army's head of that international partner right there. Dear listener, with that, it has brought us to 28 minutes to the top of the hour. Now let's have our first commercial break of the show. When we come back, we shall be seeking your thought on 0911-022-986-986. Do you believe South Sudan is ready for the 2026 election? And before I go, Deng Ayuel is saying a house divided against itself cannot stand. How can we speak of election while our citizens are perishing in silence, displaced in their own land and crying for food safety and justice? I would hear more when we come back from you. Semena kalas maktabita intikabat bezat fi stoya usta kalas fatafi yombita umbari wa hukuma bugul Junuba Sudan jai session ke BMC le intikabat fa nagat basa lita ka Junubi tamtakit Junuba Sudan jais le intikabat bita alifen usita ushirinde wa ketir bijilekum fi barnamij bita Sundown show wa mahakum fi tekdim ana Madrama James Hawal nemshi twal fi kasala tijaria.
The Ministry of Health is conducting a commemoration of African Vaccination Week with a new vaccine introduction of pneumonia vaccine, targeting all children aged between 6 to 14 weeks. Take your child to the nearest vaccination center during the African Vaccination Week or Big Catch-up campaign.
Good morning, Mama Alice.
Good morning, Mama Ladu. Where are you coming from this morning?
I had taken Ladu for pneumonia vaccination at the health center to protect my child against pneumonia and meningitis. He was also vaccinated with other routine immunization vaccines at no cost. Is baby Alice already vaccinated?
Yes, she was vaccinated last month. Does she need to be vaccinated again?
Yes, she needs to be vaccinated with at least 3 doses at 6, 10 and 14 weeks to be fully vaccinated, immunized and protected against pneumonia.
Really? I just heard from afar that there will be a vaccination campaign during the African Vaccination Week, but I was not keen enough to get the details.
You know, pneumonia vaccine is effective in preventing pneumonia and deaths in infants and young children. This vaccine has just been introduced this year, 2025. A lot of children were not vaccinated. Some even travel without being vaccinated. I wouldn't want to see any child get pneumonia.
I didn't know that pneumonia is very serious, that it can cause meningitis and even death.
Yes, pneumonia is a life-threatening disease caused by bacteria or viruses. The signs are cough, fever, chills, and shortness of breath, which may be accompanied by chest pain when breathing or coughing. Children who survive may experience long-term effects on lung function and increased risk of respiratory conditions like asthma.
Asthma or lung function complication? Oh, that sounds scary. How can I protect my child from this dangerous disease?
The only way for your child to be safe is when your child and all children in your neighborhood are vaccinated with pneumonia vaccine.
I will do that immediately. Where can I take my child for this vaccine? Hope it is not late.
No, you are not late. Pneumonia vaccine and all the other routine vaccines are available at all government health centers in your areas. Tell your neighbors with children between 6 to 14 weeks to be vaccinated.
I'm glad you told me. I will take my child immediately to the nearest health center for pneumonia vaccination.
Bring your child to the nearest health center and protect them from pneumonia and other vaccine-preventable diseases. This message is brought to you by the National Ministry of Health with support from WHO, UNICEF, and South Sudan Women in Medicine.
The Sundown, for the news, views, opinion, debates, and discussions. Listen to who is who talking about issues that affect our country and continent, only On the Sundown, your eye on South Sudan.
Yes, welcome back from the commercial break. It's now your turn to pick that cell phone and dial our studio line 0911022986. Do you believe South Sudan is ready for the 2026 election? And what changes would you like to see to make the process more inclusive and peaceful? I've got first caller right here. Radio. Yazei Mabululu. Shukran jazilan.
برنامج يافا وكبر كويس كناس جاهزين للانتخابات. انا شخصيا اكيد انا بقول انا جاهز سويا مواطن جنوبي ثاني اكيد بكون جاهز.
نعم.
جدا واحد بتمنى كليف فتو مكاتب دبق مكاتب ما فتو كليف فتو كل في جنوب السودان عشان العيادات الاداريات وكمان وفر لهم قروش الفي كلهم بدا مكتب ثامن بدا شغل ثامن وكلهم بدا بالحاجه الكويس الفي بدا باحصائيه بدا باجات مهم أن بروح عندنا في انتخابات وكل الساسة بتاعنا أو كل القيادات بتاعنا بكل أحزاب بتاعهم كلهم كده كل فكرة واحد فكرة عندنا نربى بلد لكيران تاني ده أجل فيه هذا عشان كده لابد نشوف مستقبل تاع بلد وبدأ من القادة بتاعنا كبار أو ساسة وبدأ مواطنين أكيد ومن ما عنده مشكلة بل كلنا نشوف الصعوبات والتحديات شنو نكون إيدك فوق سوا على الأقل نقدر ننجز كل حاجة ما في زول جاب من برا جا خير عنينا او جاب هي المشاكل بتاعنا الى اننا بنلقى فلاتها برانا اكيد اننا ما هي المشاكل بتاعنا اننا كابناء بتاع الدوله واحد اننا نقبل المستقبل بتاع جنوب السودان للجيل الجاي بكره وللتاريخ الجاي من زمن بعيد. نعم اكو.
شكرا جزيلا. Zaim is saying funding should be allocated to the National Election Commission institutions across the country, and some of the offices should be also established nationwide. Hi, Radio.
Madrama.
Yes, Joseph.
Good evening, my brother.
Good evening. Good to have you.
Thank you, my brother, and thanks to the iRadio team. My brother, let me give thanks to the Deputy Governor of Central Equatoria, Paulino Lokudu Obede.
Why?
For his very interested speech. Number one, my brother, to have this election commission in the country is very important because when you transform a nation to another, we must have an election. That's why we have a very important nation, which is the nation we have today. This nation was go through a liberation. That's why I thank the deputy governor, because that is statement of thanking to liberate us is very important. And this one was not done by South Sudanese people. South Sudanese people, they don't thank their daughters and sons who fought for more than 20 years.
Now, coming to our discussion here, do you believe South Sudan is ready for the 2026 election, and what kind of changes would you like to see for us to have a more inclusive and peaceful election?
It starts from me as a voter, as a South Sudanese. When we make an election today, I'm ready to vote. But question is, election is not an event, it's a process. That's why we put our voice to the leadership and the parties which are trying to be leadership of the nation to allow the process of election to be in place, because this nation was liberated to be a country in justice and equality and prosperity. All these things are not in place today, and there is a people in power without giving the services to the people, without giving equality to the people. Mean equality, you have to delivering services through South Sudanese by any territory.
Now, if that is
allow South Sudanese to live in peace and peaceful mean what we want. We need peace in this nation, and election will be done in creative and fair and peaceful election. That's what we want.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You answered my question before I even asked. I was looking forward to have your recommendation, but good enough. You put it very clearly. Radio.
Madrama jeni.
You are Joseph. Marhab.
مبروك شديد لتوفيق ابو قلنا جاني فولا من دول الديبيتي جابنا عشان ده كتر يصير رب ولا الهدوء بعد كمان قال مجان الناس ما وكمان المسؤولين تاع الكشن.
نعم.
أنا جنوبين أجل ودي فرات تانا قالي دعوة تدبر تنا سموا يسوي في جنوبين يبس أو الكشن. لكن عندنا نقول قالي الكشن ده ما بقول نفسه.
ليه؟
واي ولا ماله لأنه في ناس في أسا في جوا جوا yang bisa dijual mati. Jadi nasal yang dah marah pasal sana mendengar apa mana. Ubahnya sama aja terus. So far ada sebenarnya baru kena gini ini nazar itu. Sengke memijam macam kaman apa sih? Upaya sini anda mulai sana. Ini kerja I don't think so kan bahamu. Dah kami sini dijual, nak sini kamera. Demo bukan Alex.
نعم معلش أنا كان دراسة لجوزيف إتباس موكوما كان قاعد بقول ما في حاجة في الدنيا إن بعث المدن تهوجات لايك بكون في مشاكلات بكون في حاجات تانين تعديلات تانين لكن تبيهلقى في ناس بقول أحسن أن عنده انتخابات بدل ما في تقولوا أحسن وأنا كلام بارو ودي فرصة للناس لسه ما في داك الجنوب السودان بيشيلوا زمن وما معروف بكون 200 فبالضبط بقول شنو ده كان سؤال حقيقي لكن شكرا كاليس وسد مشاركة نياسما من دبر هاي راديو.
Yes, I radio.
Yes.
In me, community advisor from Jongle State Board.
Welcome. Do you think South Sudan is ready for 2026 election?
Let me. Truth can be said, but people cannot be aware about what is happening in South Sudan.
What do you mean?
There will be no election in South Sudan.
Why?
Why? Now there is changes, and the fruit of elections are not yet started. And we are remaining with only months. We are remaining with only months to 2026, where we can exercising our politics in South Sudan. There is no background for election. Now, when I stand up and I said I want to be a president of this nation, and I bring my manifesto, people will arrest me. Who allowed you to go and talk? Because there is no small background to run your politics.
Yeah.
So
now, community advisor.
There will be no election. But what I know, South Sudan, when the fruit of election will come, is whereby we will be knowing that there will be election. Now, security is not yet done. Security is not yet done. There are many armies, like an unknown gunmen now, that are here in South Sudan, but they are army of parties, whereby I will have the army, so will have the army, SG, which is IG, South Sudan Defense Force. Which means that if South Sudan Defense Force cannot be loyal to the current government, which is in the field, those opposition cannot force you to fight.
Okay.
So let them come up with one army, one nation.
A community advisor.
Yes.
Let me ask you briefly. You said earlier on, from the start of your speech, you don't see any sign of that preparation. Central Equatoria State has officially opened their election office, and NEC, the members, the National Election Commission's office is established, and they said they have received some resources, including even logistics wise. Now, what kind of sign would you really want to see, and why would you rush to say that there will be no election because the signs are not there yet? We have all this in place.
Politicians are more clever. Politicians are more intelligent. If they cannot do that, people will say you disclose our agreement is already disclosed. But there are something behind about it. Was put in 2018, there was 2022 election, and it was put to 2024, and it was put to 2026. Now it will be put again because the background or the ground of South Sudan will not allow election.
Finally, for 2020.
Who will accept me?
Finally, for 2026 election to happen inclusively and peacefully, what would you recommend the government of national unity to do?
Let the government of national unity establish to deploy a unified force.
Okay.
Now, from effect of today, and let the government of unity disarm the civilian now, because the civilian have guns, army have guns. We mean that if we have all guns, no one will allow me to go and say, I want to be a president, I want to be an army, I want to be an MP, in which it cannot be.
Thank you.
So let the government of South Sudan disarm civilians and put one army for one nation. One commander for one nation.
Thank you.
We have a lot of commanders now, so the election cannot be tolerated.
Thank you so much, community advisor, for sharing your thought with us. Hello, min kinta duma hanina sa de barnamij bita Sundown maakum fitek dimana Madrama James wa semina istoya lusta hafta kalas makta bitomonta indikabat wa kamana nas kubar bita National Election Commission bugul Junuba Sudan jai soshan ke BMC fi intikabat bita 2026 fana gad basa lita halita mtakid Junuba Sudan jais le intikabat wa luma jais de shunu ya kedomona molashan kev intikabat bita 2026 da biyasil besalama 09 wide wallet nini 986 Hi radio Zaire mafifikad lekin lisata bardo bagdar tasal manina wa sharik raya bitaka. Hi radio.
Yes, hello, Madrama James.
Yes.
This is One Water from Jebel Timan.
Welcome from Jebel Timan, One Water.
Yes, thank you so much. My brother, to me, South Sudan is not ready to conduct election.
Why?
And, there are very many indicators that show that the country will be ready for election. One, we are seeing bombardment and conflict in the northern part or the eastern part of the country, particularly in Nasser, Ulang, and even Fangak and other parts. Those things will really indicate that there will be no election because these are South Sudanese. They should be even part of the election. I heard Kolmanyang said that when South Sudan was fighting with when the southern part was fighting the northern part, election was taking place. We can't use that as an excuse because we cannot really. If we are talking about democracy, we cannot allow part of the population to be out of democracy. We need also to vote the people who can be accountable to them. The two, in the revitalized peace agreement on the other access, we have some mechanisms that would prepare us for it. So one is the Constitutional Review Commission, which was already established, but its activities are not has not started its activities. One, it should have even started like what is called the process of the constitution-making process. One will be the CDC, the formation of the CDC and the National Conference. All these things are not in place.
Now,
which law is going to guide us?
Yes,
which law is going to guide us in the election?
One Water.
Which law will be? Sorry?
One Water.
Yes.
The chairperson of the National Election Commission, Professor Benigo Akok, said the commission is fully prepared to deliver free, fair and transparent election. This is an expert who knows more about election. Why do you still doubt that statement?
Using which laws? Okay? Which law is going to guide the election? We have the Election Act, yes, but the Election Act is not the mother law. We are supposed to have the permanent constitution-making process, which is clearly in Chapter 6 of the revitalized peace agreement. This process is supposed to take place for people to develop the permanent constitution, then then thereafter it is asked for election. And this is not being done. The commission has been formed, but the activities are not yet being, they are not yet started. Central Equatoria opening up an electoral commission is not South Sudan. This is just one state. How long did it take Central Equatoria State to open this commission? And how long will it take just to open all of them are working in they are being established by support from Andes. Where is the support of the government to establish this commission? So when they are relying on partners, assuming the partners do not have any money, what will happen to the country? So number three, my brother, that the security agreement right now is that it's pending investigation. Some of his colleagues, some of his allies have fled the country, others are within the country, and as such, this is the partner to the peace agreement. And if it's not being there, it's not there. Don't you think the agreement is already being jeopardized? If the government or if the government is really ready for election, is preparing for election, now they should be working on unifying the process, in general, implementing the agreement by unifying the process, which is stipulated under Chapter 2 of the revitalized peace agreement, and also, having dialogue, party-to-party dialogue. So instead of saying we want to investigate the Machar, we should have party-to-party dialogue. For the implementation of the peace agreement. But as we see right now, with my own eyes, that's one water. The agreement is already dead. The agreement is dead, and I don't believe that they're going to implement this agreement. And we're even already seeing the changes happening in the government. So actually, this is just will unwind as South Sudanese. But I just want to give a warning. I just want to sign a warning that this will not take the silence of South Sudanese for being fooled. There will be limit for South Sudanese when they get tired of these politicians, and they will know what to do. They'll take back power by themselves. So we really hope that the government can change and do the right thing at the right time. Otherwise, it will not happen. It will not take place.
One water, let's keep it here for the interest of time, and thank you so much for sharing your opinion with us. Then we have someone who calls himself Isaac Kwani is saying we need fast unified forces before election. And then Page Gadwich Duap wrote, that's our Facebook page, that I don't think South Sudan will hold the election unless it's SPLM alone, because the outstanding task or provisions of the agreement are not finished. Example, like constitutional making process and security arrangement. Those two critical provisions are still on pending. How do you expect an election to be conducted? Therefore, you cannot hold elections while half of a country is bombed by the same government who wants you are cast during the election. Moreover, the environment of South Sudan is not okay for election anymore. Otherwise, have a good and wonderful evening. Thank you so much, Pitch. Then we have Wani is born. He's saying it's through free, fair competition of different parties towards the democratic exercise of electing a confident and capable leader of this nation, but not restrictions of rights to other leaders as well. Thank you all for sharing your thought with us via that's our Facebook page or even a live call. One more lucky caller, then we call it a show on 0911-022-986986 radio.
Yes, good evening, David.
Good evening.
Yes, speaking to Dr. Philip.
Welcome.
Yes, it's very good that I heard from the chairperson of the National Election Commission. Well, we, the young of this country, we truly yearn for election. But one thing that could not really stand out to see that the election is credible and fair is that, when you look at the current agreement, that's the other access, is a provision of the access that allow or provide for the election as the end of the transitional period. But then we are so much skeptical about the implementation of the access, given the fact that still the security arrangement remains in the standstill. The constitution making is not, of course, one thing that has not been funded fully. So there is need for the constitution to be funded fully to see that at least South Sudanese have what we call a people-driven constitution. Secondly, there is need for us to see that the violence in some parts of the country has to put to an end. They have to ensure that there is peace, what we call a relative peace across the nation. And of course, when there is a peace across the nation, we would also request that at least our people from the refugee camps are able to be, resettled, or they are able to be repatriated so that they participate in the election. So what we are urging now is that we are really truly urging for a peace, a complete peace that is more sustainable. And we also urge that there must be a calm, the political calm where people have got a political dialogue. This could be the only way that we can really have a transparent and a peaceful election. Otherwise, without having such kind of things place, we may likely have no peaceful election. And of course, we will be like something like what happened last year. Last year, of course, the same chairperson came out and said, yeah, we are going to have elections. But what happened at the end did not happen. So we are yearning for elections, and this must happen. And for it to happen, we must ensure that at least most of these provision has to be implemented, in letter and spirit. Of course, we heard about the transition, the Healing and Reconciliation Commission that is yet to be formed. We really wanted that reconciliation and the commission to be formed so that they speed up with the reconciliation, because most of the South Sudanese are traumatized. So it's good for them to also, have that feeling so that they really now later on are able to participate, with all their hearts, and they're able to participate freely and so on. This is what I think would be more possible and what could be done for us to have a credible election. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, for those who have tried but didn't really make it through, inshallah, next time better. With that, we have come to the end of our conversation, and we took a closer look at South Sudan's preparation for the long-awaited 2026 general election. This comes as the National Election Commission officially opens the Central Equatorial State High Election Office in Juba, a major step towards that citizen participation and early preparation for the poll. Have been your host, Madrama Jamison. Thanks a lot for sharing your brilliant ideas on our Facebook page and even a live call.